Over to Brian and Trent. I am going to pass around the sheets for you guys to sign in so that we know you were here as well. And I'll pass around, make sure I have a pen with both of them as well. And without further ado, I'll pass it on to Trent and Brian. Let's give them a hand.
Yeah. You might not want to do that when you hear what we have to sing. My name is Brian Hancock. I am the publisher and sales manager at the, well, we call it Southern Alberta Media Group, because we're a lot more than a newspaper now.
My name is Trent Fujita. Was formerly the senior marketing consultant. I've accepted a supervisory role in the retail sales department for CKBD, which is the Bridge 98.1, as well as CJOC 94.1 here in Lethbridge.
I know well, I did anyway, said a little bit of a bio, but I just want to understand something. I was right where you are. About 25 years ago, I moved to Lethbridge to open a Golf Plus retail store. I went through all these things that you're talking about, and when I look through the list of the categories you've gone through, and trust me, it's bringing me flashbacks. The HR issues, the whole bit. You think you've got everything covered? This was me with $1 million a year operation. Open the door, first customer in. This is going to be great. I didn't have a float in the till. Change to give this guy. My first customer ended up getting a free golf glove, and me closing the door to run over to the bank to get money. So when you think you've thought of everything, trust me, you haven't. Okay? Marketing in a nutshell. You'll hear all kinds of theories, ideas, everything else. The statement we put on here is one that's resonated with me over the years. Be known for what you know. Don't pretend to be anything else. Don't set expectation levels, things that you can't achieve, and Jason alluded to it earlier. Be known for what you know. So when a customer comes to your store or deals with you, they get what they expect and you're able to fulfill it. Okay? It's one of the huge pitfalls. People make these absurd claims. They run these great ads. The phone rings, then the customer, I can't really do that. I'm sorry. I know I said that, but what do you think is going to happen? The word of mouth that gets started is this guy's, excuse my French, a dipshit. He has no idea what he's doing. He's got nice fancy signs and flashing everything else going on, and I walked in and he doesn't know what he's doing. I don't trust him. Okay? No matter how good you are. Am I hitting the wrong button here? There we go. Years ago it was easy. And that was where I was at when I opened my store 25 years ago. There's a newspaper in town, there were 4 radio stations, and there was TV. Okay? Today, they're still around. In fact, there's 6 radio stations. Okay? You've got an unbelievable number of TV stations. Okay? Website, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Retargeting, geo-retargeting, maybe new terms to you. I can explain them in a few minutes. Direct mail, bus boards, billboards, flashy boards. There is an incredible list of options. And trust me, the first person that's going to walk into your store or business when you open up was a sales guy wanting to sell you something. You haven't even made your first sale. And they're walking in, how'd you like to advertise? What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? And it's just overwhelming. Retargeting and geo-retargeting, by the way, is anybody familiar with what those are? Okay, for those who don't ruin it for me. Retargeting, and this is the scary stuff right now where people start thinking Big Brother's after you. When you go on your computer, you're looking at different sites. You might be thinking about buying a new car or a used car, okay? What if an advertiser was able to follow you, see what your pattern is, what you're looking for, and then wherever you go on the internet, not just on a Lethbridge Herald site or CJOC site, I go on my Facebook, or I go check my hockey pool, and there's a little ad spot, and up pops an ad that says, before you make that next used car decision, give me a call. Retargeting is where you are followed, we find out what you're looking for, and we serve an ad to you for a business that you may be interested in. Your ad doesn't get served to anybody else, just to you. Geo-retargeting is even scarier. How many of you like to go to a car dealership on Sundays when there's nobody around so you can just have a look and not get hassled? Or drive by at night when, I'm just looking, I don't want that. You got your phone in your pocket. You're being tracked. You're being followed. Okay? So now I have a web ad ready to serve wherever you go, and up on your phone pops a used car dealership ad. It happened to me, and you're going to laugh how it happened. I have a client who sells wedding dresses and grad dresses. So when I get back to the office and I'm building ads for them, I'm looking online for images. Well, in the computer world, I'm looking for a grad dress, and I hate to tell you, there wasn't one going to fit me. But I go on my hockey pool half an hour later just to see how I'm doing my hockey pool, and up pops this ad for a Tony Bowles dress in my size. Thinking, you don't have my size, trust me. But the computer is following me. It's following what I'm doing, and then it's just saying, instead of just randomly serving ads and hoping you're in my market, or hoping you're looking for my product, I'm going to sit there and have this ad ready, and when I know you're looking for me, that's when you're going to get it. It's new age marketing. When I said to you earlier, I'm not with the newspaper, I'm with a marketing media group, this is the kind of thing we're getting into that takes us to the next level. And they build on each other, and you have to find the right marketing mix.
Right.
Okay?
The neat thing about what Brian is talking about is that the traditional medias have changed quite a bit. New media is definitely part of our life. That's why I carry an Abacus in my car, because I don't want to be tracked. I'm just kidding. But the idea is, even radio stations have evolved. We have online. You've seen the banner ads for many years. We also have what we call a clearly interactive portal for us that creates actually real estate for you on the internet by giving you a profile page. Those are the things that you need to have in your marketing mix. Okay. Brian also alluded to the fact that you're going to have guys knocking on your door. My media is the best. We're the best. You should come with us. Give us all your money. That's not what we're here for you. It's not going to work for us, and Brian and I are on the same page with this. You have to figure out what works for you, right? And then the second slide, there's some new marketing language and strategies. You guys all can read, so I don't have to read too much. Marketing is the closest step to the actual purchase, all right? And then advertising, what we do, helps accelerate it. Promotion and branding are also key components to your business, and those are the other things that create that marketing mix, okay? So marketing itself is not just advertising. It's not just the clothes you wear that you have branded. It's about how you answer the phone, what your website says, how you address a Facebook message that's not very nice, right? The other one is the why factor. This is why, what we call repeat and referral business. Repeat and referral business in our industry is key. What Brian was saying, if you're making extreme promises and can't deliver, then you have a problem. When we talk to clients, we want to know what their repeat and referral business is like before we even start a discussion, right? For entrepreneurs with new business, a little bit different story because you don't have any, right? Do you have any questions with that?
By the way, fire away, okay?
Yeah.
Trent and I were joking around. You always go to we go to marketing seminars, and the guy's like, "Here's my book.
Blah, 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 blah.
After we're done, buy my book."
Yeah.
That's not at all, believe me.
Question right there. We got one up top there. Go ahead.
The why factor, you said if you own the logical reasons, then you have to make one up. What, sorry, I missed why you-
Okay, the idea is the price of doing business is service. You already have good service. Everybody has good service, right? Everybody has experience. Everybody has a great product, low price. So you have to find a why factor. What makes you different than that person who has the same silo of business? That's the why factor. You have to peel back the layers and then understand that. So that goes back to what Jason was saying about SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, right? Threats and opportunities, those things. And there's a question down here.
Yeah, what was that? You called it repeat and what?
Referral.
Referral.
Yeah, absolutely. So is everybody clear about repeat and referral and what we mean by that? Like you can't run a business if you don't get repeat business, right? If you're selling one thing one time and then you don't see them for a lifetime, then you're going to be out of business. So that's what you want, right?
Trent and I share a very similar philosophy, which is why, okay, you'd think we're competitors. Well, first off, Trent worked in print while I was in radio. I'm in print now, he's in radio. We've been through the whole mix.
Yeah.
And none of us will, the people we choose to work with and refer to at other radio stations, TV, same philosophy. How do you turn a sale into a customer? Okay? Anybody can get you once. Okay? You'll go try at a restaurant. You'll go try something new. Who's been to Rogue as an example, you know? I tried it. If I didn't like it, I'm not going back. If I was upset with the service, the quality of the food, the pricing, how do you turn a customer or sale into a customer? We face the same challenges you face every single day with your potential businesses. Okay?
Okay. The other thing that a lot of businesses think they need to gravitate towards is price point. If you're making price point the only difference, if that's your Y factor, you got to be a liquidation world, or you got to be a discount or a dollar store, that kind of thing. And that's where, when we talk to most businesses, retail shouldn't be the F word to anybody. That should be what you want to sell your price point at, because you value your product, you value what you have as far as the knowledge and experience within, and the Y factor. So retail pricing should not be something you should be going, I can't sell it at retail. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, emotion versus logic is all about in our area, radio, TV, everything is, and newspaper, everything's based on emotion, right? I want that Harley. I want that red car. I want that person. You need a plumber. You need a lawyer sometimes, right? Totally different. So he needs a lawyer. He needs a big dress, right? And he needs a pair of shoes.
Well, I
to go
don't
with
want
it.
a big dress, I'll tell you
There you
that.
go. So the idea is, when you're creating your marketing strategy, is how do you touch the emotions of the people who are going to buy and purchase your product? Repeating it, repeating it, and repeating it, right? How do you address that? So those are the things that we ask you as a consultant. What is it that is that? What is it? What do you solve, right? That's that. Point of relevance. You can all read, there's a lot there. Point of relevance basically speaks to, when do you need this stuff? Well, everybody has different points of relevance. When your car breaks down, is it going to break down on a Tuesday? Probably not. Probably break down when you're minus 40 degrees, right? So the point of relevance for everybody is different. Whether it's purchasing a car, buying an engagement ring, having a birthday, needing a plumber. So that's what you want to be looking at, as the point of relevance is important, because everybody has a different point of relevance. So what does that mean for you when you're marketing and advertising your business? It should be consistent. It shouldn't just be on a month. It shouldn't just be on a Tuesday. It should be all the time. Right? Again, depending on your product and your service.
I'll go back to my own experience, KB Heating, okay? Great company. My furnace broke. We phoned. We had them come out, replace the furnace. Phenomenal, same day service. What got us, my wife especially, was when the next morning, guy phones, how's it working for you? Fine. Was the house warm last night? Everything good? My wife just looked at me and says, throw away all the other fridge magnets. Forget it. That's the guys. So I've had them out to do my plumbing, got a new hot water tank the next morning. You guys all get hot showers this morning? Because in the old tank, you don't have as much hot water. She's like, this guy cares whether I was hot in the shower or not. That makes a huge difference. There's the differentiation we talked about earlier about the Y factor. What is it? Now we have an emotional bond with KB. They're great people. They care. Throw away the other fridge magnets, let's go. And that's the point of relevance thing, is now if I've got one of those problems, I don't even go and Google. I'm not looking in yellow pages. They're top of mind. Their name is always out there, and I know that fridge magnet's all I need.
Again, I think Jason alluded to the fact that you want to get your message out before there's a decision being made, right? That's the idea, is that before someone's ready, and in Brian's case is a little different. When you're ready and you don't have an idea, and they don't have an idea of your company, you're kind of behind the 8 ball already, because if there's a player in the market that has done their homework, have done their marketing, they're going to probably top of mind. And you've heard top of mind. Jason had used the term share of wallet.
Yeah.
Well, we call it share of voice, share of mind, and share of market. I think Brian will agree with me. If you don't have a share of voice, how can you have a share of mind? If you don't have a share of mind, how do you get that share of market? So awareness is key, right? It goes back to the point of relevance. You got to be out there all the time. Okay. Now, immediate persuasive advertising has always got you got to clear out some stuff. You got a blowout sale. You got too much surplus. Those are always good, but what happens is it ends up conditioning buyers to wait for the sale. Goes back to the retail component. Why would I want to spend retail when I can get it for sale, on sale price? So be very aware of that, okay?
I had the golf shop, and you would think, you know, okay, spring, business booms, everything's great, fall off at the end. You know the worst month of the year? August. In a golf shop, and you're like, August in a golf, are you kidding me? Well, first off, everybody's playing. And secondly, they all know if I just wait till September, he's gonna take 20–30% off that. So why buy it now? I might get 1 or 2 rounds in, but if I wait 20 or 30, that TaylorMade driver I wanted $600, I'm gonna get it for 400, so I'll wait. And I couldn't do anything. So what do? Start your sale earlier? No. Go play golf yourself and actually get some season in. Be prepared, because you're gonna go nuts next
What you
month.
do is you take that $600 driver, go beside the guy who didn't buy it, and show him why he should have the $600 driver, right? So at the very bottom of this, it talks about the emotion again, when we talked about the why factor. You know, Harley sells freedom, they don't sell motorbikes, if you think about it. They have motorbikes and they list, you know, on their website, you get this model, you get that model. But at the end of the day, people don't buy a Harley because they're kind of a, you know, back in the day, they're a crappy motorbike. But they bought it because there was a status, there was a reason, the emotion of that. Nike, same thing. They sell winning, right? It's not a shoe. If you wear this stuff, you run with this stuff, you're gonna win. Or you're gonna feel like you're a winner. Prada, there's some ladies in here, I'm sure you know, you don't buy a Prada purse because, oh, it's very functional. Right? Yeah, you know, a garbage bag does the same thing, but there's a big difference, right? I don't know, explain it to my wife. But you know, if you have that, that's a status symbol, and it gives you that sense of emotion, then justified by, I need a new purse, right? I have to have that product purse. So that's where it ties in. Emotion, then logic. Go ahead, Brian.
Okay, no matter what you're doing, I was taught a long time ago, I think of it as matchmaking. Every different form of media has its own target audience it attracts, okay? So it's up to us to help educate you. A lot of people understand this, but think of it as matchmaking in that you have a product. I, as a media representative, representing the Herald Now or the radio station or whichever station, have the group of people. My job is just to put the two of you together, okay? You talk to them. It's not me that's trying to sell them a motorcycle or a pair of shoes or a golf club now. You guys talk to each other. So find the right marketing mix. Find the right people that have a desire and they have the ability and the means to purchase your product, okay? It's great to advertise $600 golf clubs, but if you're advertising to a bunch of students in high schools that don't have jobs, or they do, they want to just clunk, 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 let's call it what it is, they're not buyers, okay? They want it, but they don't have the means, and they have other priorities for their money, okay? That's the whole thing in a nutshell, and when you find the right people to work with, and there are a lot of great people, you're lucky in this market, there are a lot of great people in the media, okay? And not just ourselves, the outside issues. Well, especially us. But there are some others. There's a lot of things with the social media that you can do. There's an awful lot, and there's a lot of people out there that can give you great advice on it as well. Okay? Great marketing mix. Matchmakers. Notice how Trent's walking away on
This is the one
This
I'm
is
walking
funny.
away, guys.
Okay?
He's gonna get
Price
stuck
versus
right
value. Okay? Bear with me. And I did this when I worked at the radio stations. I worked with Rock 106 in the River. Okay? You got a radio station over here with 50,000 listeners. You got one over here with 10,000 listeners. The price of buying ads is the same. Which one do you buy?
The one with 50,000.
Okay? These are 50,000 nuns in a convent. Okay? These are 10,000 male university students. And you sell condoms for a living. Okay? Is it the price or the value? Now I did this at the college, and I had one smart ass in the front row. He's like, yeah, but the nuns have a condom handout program. I'm like, okay. You're hired. You just figured out the marketing solution, okay? So sometimes things are going to get put in front of you and somebody's going to go, this is the cheapest radio station, or it's the cheapest TV, or it's the, and you're like, you've got to learn to stop and say, but is it the right one? Are these the right people for me to advertise to? Back when 12:20 a.m. CJOC. I don't know if anybody in here remembers that oldies country music station. I worked for them and the River, and then overnight we flipped and became Rock 106. You want to shake up your world? My goodness. So I got a call from a client in town. She says to me, I've got budget to buy 2 radio stations. She owns a paint store. She says, come and make a presentation to me, will you? So I went in to see her with this new Rock 106, and I said to her, you know, the River's a great place for you. High female demographic, high household income, 35, 64, 25, 54. You'll hear in radio world, we break down the demographics this way, okay? I said, but in all honesty, if I was gonna buy a second radio station, if I was you, I'd buy Country 95. Now at the time, CGOC wasn't around, so don't hate me for saying this. Again, high female listenership, they're the ones that, not being stereotypical, but I can show you the numbers of what they spend their money on, and it's the right station. She says, but you don't represent them. I go, no, I don't. We've got to do what's right by you and get you the results. She says, well, the guys from the other stations were just in. They told me to buy B93 and country. Truth is, I only have enough money for one radio station. The River gets it all. Because you're the only one being honest with me. You're the only one putting my interests first by recommending your competition. Okay? You will find people like that. I'd like to think we're in that demographic. I've proven it, Trent's proven it. There's a couple other people that we do recommend in the market. There are great marketing ideas. There's great methods that can be used. You keep your guard up.
Challenge it, you know. The looks on your face are going, oh, okay, well, throw some questions at us, right? That's what you want to do. You're basically interviewing us for your money and how we can help your business. If we can't help your business, we'll tell you. You know what? This might not be the right place for you. You know, our station may not be the best for you. Here's an alternative. Here's somebody you need to talk to. Go ahead.
Are there any ways to find out the demographics for the radio station?
Absolutely.
So,
And the newspaper and the TV stations. TV's a little different because by the show, you're going to get a different demographic. The people who watch The Simpsons aren't the same as one who's watching a soap opera in the afternoon, okay?
And it's, again, like we talked about, traditional media, TV, radio, newspaper, it's evolving and changing. Here in Lethbridge, we're kind of at a little bit of a deficiency on the TV side with having local marketing representation. You know, it's a challenge. Those big media groups, they want to pull everything back to Calgary, and it's not to dirt on TV. It's just the fact of life is that, you know, to actually call somebody here locally is not going to happen. You're going to be talking with somebody out of Calgary. And trust me, if you've seen my bio, I'm from Calgary. My corporate life is Calgary, was, until I decided I need to move home and simplify my life. But they're a different animal. If you're going to talk Calgary radio, Lethbridge radio, even Medicine Hat radio, which is, we have sister stations out there, totally different conversation. And I'm not saying that there's not good people in those industries up in those markets, but highly competitive. 6 radio stations here, 50. So they're going to say something that you're probably going to go, yeah, I don't think I want to work with you. But at the same time, you're probably going to get a couple more reps saying the same thing if you're going for a Calgary market. Just be aware, all right?
The comment on here about, are you better to convince 100% of the population 10% of the way, or 10% of the population 100% of the way? Back to my radio days, there's a guy named Roy Williams, and if you want to read a great book on radio and how to use it, it's called The Wizard of Ads, okay? Roy Williams is a guy who says, you go into a market, you find a station that is a good demographic matchup to what you're trying to do as possible, and own it. Buy it. Get that. Don't worry about any other radio station. His examples in his book of how to write an ad, it doesn't talk about we have sweaters on sale for $49.95. This guy's a keynote speaker and he goes all across North America. If you ever get the chance, it's worth it. But he talks about the emotion of that sweater and the setting where you're at, and it's a cold wintry day and you're walking along the coast of Vancouver, and this sweater is all you need. And it adds to the experience of walking on the beach in Vancouver, and it just draws you in. You listen to him talk and like, I want to buy that sweater. Like, where do I get this? He ran quick 10-second ads. It says, Pete's Plumbing. And most people think plumbing, okay, I want to know how many years and what. He says, prompt plumber. When you're up to your arse and what just came out of it, do you really want a plumber that says, I'll be there in 3 hours? Or maybe later, I'm not 100%, when I finish the other call, are guys at your door right now to turn that water off and get you out of the sewage mess that you're in. And the phone, they set up this as an experiment where it was not really a real business. The calls went through to a call center, and the guy was doing 200-300 calls a day in Calgary. From people who are just like, I just need somebody here now. I don't care about price. I don't care about anything else. I just need you here now. Okay?
So it's
So
just-
you own that market, you convince everybody listening to that station, or reading that paper, or whatever the case may be, you are the guy. And as soon as you feel like you've saturated that market, now you look at another one. And you buy your way up the ladder. That's his whole theory of your radio. Trent loves it because he's like, yeah, giddy up.
Thank you.
Come
Yeah.
own my radio station, okay? You'd be surprised when you make a commitment to the stations as well for longer term deals, the rates drop. The deals get better, okay? And it's not, especially, okay, plumbers, having a sale on toilets. When I need one, I need one. When it's cracked and leaking, it's not on sale, I don't care, I can't leave it leaking, okay? So be out there all the time, keep your name out there all the time. Take 10% of the market of Lethbridge, 95,000 people. 9,500 people are thinking, you're the guy I'm calling. When I need it,
Right.
you're the guy I'm calling.
Question, right here.
So what happens how does it compare when your demographic is a younger young adults?
Like
or-
millennials?
Millennials, and
Ask
so
them,
they've
they're
got
right
their,
there.
they're not, sorry, they're not always listening to the radio in the car?
No, absolutely not.
Or at work, they've got their iPod, they've got
Sure.
their, that sort of thing. So when do you switch to social media? When do you find that that is an advantage?
Well, here's what we always say. You know, the idea is there's always going to be fragmentation within a market, within a media. In our time, it was VCRs, and also in some other people's times, it was CDs, and then now it's digital iPods and streaming audio, video, all that stuff. The idea is you're in business. You need to advertise your business to a demographic. You identify the demographic, and you're talking millennial adult males, then the idea is find a radio station that speaks to that. The Bridge 98.1 definitely is your target market. The other thing is, because you want to dovetail your marketing, you'd be looking at social media. Are these guys on Facebook? Probably not, right? What are they doing? Instagram. So you might want to be doing what Brian's talking about, geocaching, geo-targeting. Those are some of the things that we talk about. Does that answer your question? Right here.
We got a question for Brian, actually from online.
Thank God.
With the Lethbridge Herald, I know you have a connection to Medicine Hat. How do you advertise differently between the two cities?
That's kind of unique. Yeah, we own, by the way, our group owns Medicine Hat News and 13 weekly rural papers in between. So from Swift Current right through to Pincher Creek, we have 15 newspapers going through there. I don't so much say change the message. If I've decided this is the demographic I'm going after and print reaches it, I'm not going to change the message all that much. Obviously, the location and address, if you've got stores in both, that kind of thing. But the message should be the same throughout. And that's one of the other things is, if you've got a message that you're sending out through print and you're going to use radio as well, be consistent with it. Don't have 6 different marketing campaigns going where in radio you say, this is what we're all about, and over here, this is what we're all about. You know, it's having a consistent message and getting it out, branding yourself consistently.
I can add to that. Now, we have 2 different stations. Most of the radio stations here in town will have 2 demographics, River and Rock, male and female. Country 95 is country music listeners, so that's all adults 24 above. And then they have B93, which is, not to be derogatory, but they're kind of the bubblegum chewing, hair twirling, younger.
That's not derogatory, no.
But it's a different audience, quite a bit of different audience. And then there's those people who want to be on trend. That's who listen to 98.1. Then we have our classic hit station with 94.1, where if you like I don't want to say hair bands because I have none, but those bands back in the day of the 70s, 80s, and 90s, right? So you have to identify, and you really need to know as an entrepreneur who your product speaks to, right? So you have a message for 98.1, Would you go on CJOC as a secondary market? It could happen. We don't know until we have a conversation. Where's your secondary market? Is it 94.1? Is it 93.3? Is it country? Is it, you know, Brian has, with the newspaper and his media group, he's got a wide readership. So if you want to expand, he's your guy. Medicine Hat, I think the question was, we have a sister station in Medicine Hat, same format as 94.1. They also have a it's a Patterson or a Rogers. Rogers is a, so they have,
Rock 105.
yeah. So they have a rock station, exact same format as the rock station here. So do we speak different languages? Not in our format, but definite different vibe out there. So yeah, there's a different demo out there. But if you're looking to address it, we just customize that message to that.
What's a secondary market?
It's one of the, well, you have a primary market. I don't know your business. Let's say it's the millennials adults. I don't know what the product would be, but maybe you want to address the parents, saying, hey, your kid needs this, right? So now you go after the parents. We have a special example, MediChair, Leasters, their prime target is healthcare and seniors. So they go, why would I advertise on your station? Well, who's taking care of the seniors, right? Who's taking care of it? It's guys like me. You know, I have older parents, they need a wheelchair or they need a sit-down potty, they need something. That's the primary market. But that's what we would talk about once we talk with you. You know, I want to sell these to these people who use it, or I'm sorry, I want these people to use it, but I'm actually selling it to these people here. We're going to bring it into the household. Does that answer?
Common mistakes, okay? Don't know how many times, especially in the radio world, when I walked in and here's Rock 105 and this is it, and it matches up with your target demographic. Guy says, I don't like it. What? I like this in CJOC. I'm not buying that rock station. But it matches up with your customers. No, I'm going to buy what I like. I want to hear my ad on the station. I like. Go ahead and no disrespect. Go ahead and throw your money away then. Because it's the wrong demographic for the customer you've got. And it could be vice versa. I just like to pick on trends every now and then, okay? But one of the most common mistakes, I'll buy what I read, I'll buy what I listen to, and I'll buy what I watch. You're not the customer. You want the customer, not yourself, right? Okay? Lacking a clearly defined strategy, and it kind of goes back to all these SWOTs and objectives and SMARTs and everything else. Your business plan for your marketing has to be the same thing. Set it in stone. It's a percentage of your sales, and it depends on the industry you're in, about what the competition is doing, but there's kind of a standard, and I think it's StatsCan. I know Radio Marketing Bureau used to put out a lot of these kinds of things, and it would say 2.3 of your sales. So what are your sales expectations? 2.3% of that should be your marketing budget for the year. Is it a seasonal business where you cut at certain times, you can lay lower, not turning it off? We used to say, what is it, stopping marketing is like throwing your watch and breaking it to stop time?
Yeah.
It doesn't work, okay? Putting all the eggs in one basket. I'm only gonna buy this, I'm not doing anything else. Fingers crossed you hit a home run then.
My gosh, if we had, I'm going to only buy your station and that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to test you. And we're only going to do it for a month. And I'm only going to have 2 commercials a week. My goodness. You're in business. Your doors are going to be open probably Monday through Friday, some of you 7 days a week. You're going to be open January, February, March. You're open all 12 months. Why would you stop a marketing message? Because you only want Tuesdays, or you only want so much advertising. The idea is you're in business 365, right? So you need to keep pushing that message. I'm not saying you have to spend a lot of money. You can do it very strategically, and that's where you have a consultant come in and talk to you. What can you afford? What can we do? How do we stretch that dollar to maximize the effectiveness of your campaign? Dovetailing your marketing. If you buy one, it's not gonna, if you buy 2, maybe, right? If you do social media, if you do other things within your business that are free, optimize your website. Search engine optimization is key. These millennials are probably going, how come it's not Prezi? I need a Prezi presentation. It's not too flashy. You know, those are the things that you need to really think about. Because marketing, again, is all of it together. Right?
How about as simple as when a guy leaves your store, say, here's a coupon for 10% off the next time you come back? You know, it can sometimes be that simple. How do you take a sale and turn them into a customer? Ask them to come back. Okay? Not changing the message often enough. We have had, and this is back to my radio days and the print days, book an ad, here's the campaign for the year, and 6 months later you're phone, come on, it's time to change this up. It's time to change this up something. Is there not a new product in your store? Is there not a new service you offer? Something we can say that's different, because you know what? We're getting bored hearing it. It's just blah, 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 it's the Charlie Brown blah, blah, blah thing, and you're flying under the radar now, because you're just old news, okay?
The one thing to add to that is that humor commercials, you may have heard them. How many times can you hear the same joke? Perfect, right? Perfect. How many times are you going to hear that? Well, it kind of grates on you after the 10th time. You kind of go, okay, and that speaks to what Brian's talking about. Humor in advertising is probably the shortest lived campaign ever. And if you think about it, if you take a look at the Nationals and what the big guys are doing, they only run one Super Bowl ad or two as a compliment. They don't run them any other time because it would be worn out, right?
Okay? Not reserving some funds in your budget for opportunity buys. You lay out your budget, I'm gonna spend $2,000 a month or whatever the case may be, and it's gone. And then Trent or myself walks in the door and goes, you know this idea you're doing, this great thing? We got a sale on right now. I can get you a page in the paper. It's normally $3 grand. I can do it for $750 right now. I just had somebody pull out, gotta get it. I got nothing left. I can't. I was taught stick to my budget. I didn't say spend it all. I said have a budget. Have something there ready for that opportunity buy. Trent walks in and says, you know what, we've got our, in radio we do twice a year ratings promotions. Big markets do it 4 times a year. Twice a year. We've got our cruiser car. We're giving it away, okay? I've got a week open here. Do you want this thing on the lot? You get a radio remote comes with it. There's this many commercials. We're live on location. It's a great opportunity. It does drive traffic to your business. No, spend all my budget. Okay, I'm gonna say to you 80%. That $2 grand, if that's your number, have 80% laid out. Have a little bit built up. And if you don't spend it that month, don't worry about it. Think of it, it's in the pot for the next month. A great opportunity comes along, I'm jumping on this, because one of Trent's clients backed out of whatever they had and he's able to get you something, or mine, you know what I mean? Sorry.
I just really want to reinforce how important that is to have that. I've never talked to an entrepreneur who has complained because they have a little bit of extra money in the bank. And so that being able to capitalize on that is so hugely important, because I mean, so many of the loans that we see coming through, they're saying, I need working capital, I got to get some advertising done. Whereas if you do an approach like this, you don't need to pay 8% interest or 5% interest on this money. So it's a really great thing to keep in mind for yourselves.
Contingency funds, slush funds.
We don't use the term slush funds, though.
Huge, Willie Law funds,
Sorry.
petty cash. Yeah.
You mentioned a suggested spend of 2.3% of your revenue. I've heard 10 is what I'm thinking.
It all depends on the industry that you're in, okay? And if you go to Stats Can,
Yeah, it's
trying to
all
think
over.
where the other.
It's on BBM as well, Broadcast Bureau Measurement. They give you recommended, if you're a mom and pop shop that has a convenience store, this is what you should be looking and allocating, because bread, butter, milk, daily uses versus car insurance, home mortgages. Home mortgages every 5 years, 3 years, 2 years if you're in Calgary right now, right? Those
Sorry,
things.
what did you say that was? BBM?
Yeah, Broadcast Bureau Measurement. That should be on there as far as the recommended spends per industry.
And I believe it's Stats Can. I wish I could have it with me, and I will try and get it to Jason who can forward it to you. There was a chart I've seen, and it breaks down retail categories and all kinds of industries by the month. And I will tell you that in January, the industry averages 5.3% of your sales are here, 6.1, 9.2. And it'll tell you the peaks and valleys in your industry across a year, okay? Think of a gardening center versus somebody who's opening a restaurant year-round. There's peaks and valleys that differ from industry to industry. In the food and beverage market, it's X percentage of your sales you should try and put aside as your marketing budget. Something else, maybe much higher, maybe much lower, and there's recommendations and industry standards, averages for that. It's a good thing to know, because chances are your competition's doing it. So if you're going really light at a certain time of year when they're going really heavy, who's going to get the market share? Okay? Co-op funds, does anybody know what it is? You ever worked with it before? Sorry.
I was just going to ask about that BBM there. Isn't that now called Numeris?
Numeris, yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
And then the neat thing about it is that back in the day, you heard of Nielsen ratings in TV. Well, they were purchased by Arbitron. Arbitron now is part of the radio stats. So now we know that $6.1, or for every dollar you spend on radio, 6.1 will be returned on average. So what Brian was talking about, if you're in a certain industry, you can expect a certain return on your dollar. There's a bubble chart for that, and you can look that up as well.
Okay. Co-op funds, and this is especially, I learned my lesson, hopefully you don't learn the same way I did when you start a new business, okay? You've got vendors you're going to, and in my case, I'll go back to my golf shop, the TaylorMades and the Pings, etc. So I opened my store, I bought $1 million worth of inventory. The bank owns it, I say I do, but the bank does, let's be honest, okay? And I come out of the gate and I set myself a budget, $75,000 my first year, and I've spent it. And after the first year, one of the reps says to me, he says, do you ever want to do some advertising? I'm like, what do you mean, do I ever want to do something? Well, I've got some co-op money. What's that? For every dollar I spend, he'll match it. And I'll do one better, I'll match it in product at wholesale, so you turn around and sell it for retail. So suddenly I went from having a budget of $75,000, if I'd maxed my co-op money out, I'd have had $150,000. It would have only cost me $75,000 in product. He gives me the other $75,000. I turn around and sell it at retail. Well, when your average store is 30% markup, you're like, I got a $150,000 budget that really only cost me, call it 50. I'm not great at math on the fly like this.
I get my advocate.
Versus me spending 75 and only getting 75. When you're starting up a store, talk to the vendors you're working with. If I had gone to the TaylorMade rep at the start and said, I'm putting in this order, what can you do to help me move the product through so that I can buy more from you because I need it? And there are certain vendors that are like, yeah, we want to be partners, and others are like, no, we just don't do that. Well, guess who I'm going to buy more from?
Yeah. So again, your industry, not sure what you all do. If you have partners within supply chain management, even your warehousing, right? If you outsource, my history is outsourcing. We always helped out our clients by providing them extra. Those are the things that you can then put on as a feature within your own store, right? We have stuff in, it's called trinkets and trash, but it's promotional items. Every service, every provider will have something like that that you comprise. If you go to a liquor store, do you think they paid for those fridges that they're giving out? No. No. Do you think they're paying for that bicycle that's getting drawn for? No. Those are the things that you can do in store and also push through social media, Facebook, Instagram, all those social media things. So the more you're out there and gathering that stuff to give away, the more your marketing increases. But co-op as well, car dealerships are the big ones that we get co-op for. National dollars, they did advertising. Those are the ones that are the big ones that we would be looking at. Furniture stores, if you have, what was the last one? Uniforms. You have a uniform supplier. There's another one, right?
Sorry, I skipped over one here. It says not measuring results properly. I have my golf shop. I've been open 5 years. I decided I was going to do a little survey because I'm spending a lot of money on marketing. I'm going to figure out what's working and what's not, right? The old adage, 20% of your marketing generates 80% of your return. I'm going to find that 20% and I'm going to cut out some of the other 80%. So I gave everybody this survey, and again, I went to one of my vendors and said, would you put up a set of golf clubs? If people fill out the survey, this is their entry. It's a $1,000 set of golf clubs. People were fighting over these entry forms, filling them out. Okay? So here's the results. The number one, we're going to both hate when I say this. Number one was TV. Number two was radio, because I used to. Number three was print. Really interesting, because I'd never bought a TV commercial yet. But when people watch the golf tournaments on the weekend, there's a Titleist commercial, a Cobra commercial, and a Ping commercial. And they're like, must be the Golf Plus guy. He's the only guy that sells that stuff in town. I'm riding on the coattails of the national advertising, and people are telling me my TV ads are great. Keep it up. All right, I'm pulling everything else. I'm sorry, but so measuring it properly, ask people what is it they liked about your ad or whatever. Actually figure out if they've heard it or not, if they're just blowing smoke so they can win this $1,000 set of golf clubs. Okay? And I wrote down here setting unrealistic goals. One of the big pitfalls, when I owned the golf shop, I had a radio rep came in, She says to me, you should buy a remote from us. It's only $2,000. You get live on location for 4 hours. You get 30-second ads. You get 15-30-second promos saying we're going to be there. Great. So then what do you think is going to do my sales? She says, well, it's only $2,000. You just got to sell $2,000 more and it's covered. And I'm like, do you not get business? I pay my bills out of my profit. I had to pay for the product. This $2,000 you think I'm going to sell, I got 30 points in it. That's $600 profit. I need to increase my sales by $7,000 on a Saturday to cover the cost of that remote, not $2,000. And I'm not going to do something that's not going to give me more of a payback than just breaking even. So can you get me $10,000 more in sales on a Saturday? Well, what do you normally do? Is it about 15,000? Oh no, I don't think we can do that. Well, as soon as you put the test back on them, they don't even know what they're selling sometimes. They don't even understand your business and what you have to pay. The staff, the lights, the wholesale for the inventory, your rent, everything else that goes with it. Don't be afraid to ask the tough questions and break it down. Don't get caught up in the flashy lights they're throwing at you, okay?
Call him. No, I'm kidding.
All right, so just a little quick checklist. Before you sit down and try and market yourself, do you know your prime demographic by age? And it's all going to come back to where you should put your marketing dollars, so think of it that way. Your prime demographic by gender. Your demographic by spending habits. What time of the year do they do what they do, and how much do they spend when they do it?
Also known as psychographic information.
Okay? Demographic by income. Okay? If you're selling Cadillacs, it's very different than selling used Cavaliers. Okay? Your prime demographic by their media habits. Where are they? What do
Answers
they
your
do?
question, right?
Okay? Matchmaking. Go find the ones you want and talk to them. And get out of the way, me. Just let you guys talk to each other. Okay? What's your ad budget for the year, for the month? Set one. Put a little bit aside. Know what the industry standards are. Know what the percentages should be. Know the times of the year to advertise. Do your homework before somebody walks in and goes, I got a great deal for you next week. Well, I sell snow blowers and it's July. How good can this deal be? Okay? Okay? Do you know the answers to these same questions for your competitors? What's their advantage over you? What's your SWOT analysis telling you? What are they going to be doing?
Actual details, guys. Very specific. Don't assume. All right? That's
Okay.
the killer.
And this was Trent's question, and I loved it. We threw it on the bottom. Sometimes the hardest marketing question for most businesses to answer is, what are you trying to make happen? You want people to walk in the door? That's great. We want to sell product. Our business is to get them in the door. What are you going to do with them when they get there? Because the next guy that says to me, no, your ad didn't work. You know, I had 40 people in the store on the weekend and nobody bought a bed. What do you normally get on a weekend? Oh, if I get 5 or 6. So we went from 5 to 40 and you didn't sell a bed. Did it ever occur to you that might be your problem? Okay? What are you trying to do? Get people in the doors? You better have the staff in place to cover the extra traffic. You better have an offer for them. You better have the store set up properly. Point of purchase displays. Okay? Clear pricing. And especially enough staff to handle the extra traffic. Because don't you hate going in looking for a hot deal and you got to stand in line behind 10 other people? And a bed is not something you buy in 5 seconds?
Or you
I
can
won't
shoot
wait.
a cannon through the place and nobody's around, right? So again, marketing is all about not what we get people to the door. The marketing also continues on within your store. What's your storefront look like? Is your sidewalk swept? You got snow out of there. Your windows clean. Your lights not burnt out, right? Your signage is very clear. Your vision, your mission statements are all clear. Your staff, although I'm not dressed like I normally am, you know, your staff is key, right? They're the first point of contact. They're the ones who say, hey, how's it going today? Right? Not what's bringing you in, just greeting people. Comes down to even greeting people. Your phone etiquette. Yeah, what do you want? Totally different. How can I help you? Right? So that again is all key to your marketing and what you do. So if you promise something, plumber, I call you back, or you're going to talk to me, you're going to get a live person. You put that in your commercial, you better not get an answering machine. You know what I mean? Okay.
So, like I said, there's no book to buy. What we thought we would do, we want to take a couple of minutes, try and answer some of these questions for yourselves. Then we're going to play Stump the Panel. Okay? I love doing these things, but theory is theory. All these things we've talked about, let's talk about your businesses. So if you want to quickly go through and jot a few things down, and you guys want to bring it to us, let's see what we can do for you. If it's your business and we say to you, this would be a good idea, that would be a good idea, and this might be a good idea, let's see if we can't help you out a little bit right now.
It's gonna be like Penn and Teller, fool us.
Or Laurel and Hardy,
Yeah,
actually.
he could be Hardy, I'll be the
Sorry.
skinny guy. No.
Yes, how would you go about finding out what your competitors are charging, like?
Go in and buy it. Go in and buy it.
Oh, okay, but all the other information too, like the demographics. That would be pretty well the same as yours, right?
Yeah, their
All of that?
demographic of customers is gonna change all that much, but what are their marketing trends, what are they doing? And actually figure it out, don't just, well, I think we do this.
Go in and buy
I think we do that.
something. That's
You
all
know,
I would do. Go in
I
and
do
be a
this, I go
secret
to
shopper.
hockey games and I look and see who's on a ring board sign, which I'm sorry, but I think it's one of the biggest wastes of money out there, because if I said to you, who goes to Hurricanes games? Anybody in here? Name 3 rink board advertisers right now.
94.1, 98.1.
No, well, 94.1 and 98.
There we go.
I don't even.
And some other
See what I
radios.
mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes people die of exposure, so be careful, you're not just exposing yourself. Putting your name out there isn't gonna do it. And if you haven't, we don't even touch on this in here, some kind of a slogan, okay? Bob's Plumbing, what? It's a positioning statement, it's a hook, it's a catch, and it keeps you going up there. And they're done.
Yeah, we can do
Back
it.
to my radio days.
Yeah.
If I start, and I told you I might do this, but it's a musical jingle, okay? Who doesn't know, other than I'm a bad hummer, who doesn't know the product? Who doesn't know the company? Who didn't just get an image of a great big bear in the
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
orange?
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. What's that?
Yeah.
McDonald's, right? Those are the
Okay.
things that work.
That's their positioning statement, that's their brand. It can be done digitally, it can be done visually, it can be done a combination thereof. There's a company, Jeff Bates, right? Imagine?
Yeah, Jeff is with Imagine, and then we
Comes out of
have.
Vancouver, and
yeah.
he comes out here and he does some great jingles for businesses.
We have
It costs
got-
you money, but you know what? It's worth it. He's the guy who did the A&W Root Beer 20-something years ago.
Chatters, Tommy Guns. That's all done by Spinnaker Sound out of Vancouver, White Rock, actually. We use them. I know Rice Honeywell very well. He's the one who did that. He's done a couple for us with our radio station. They're just starting out. One is the Downtown BRZ, the Downtown First Friday jingle. That's what they've done.
There's a game my kids were playing on, it's an app, and they have a logo of a company, but they've taken out the name of it. And it's amazing. My kids, obviously what I do, I'm kind of very aware of it, but how many companies you can name just by the color and the shape without the name of the company in there, because they branded, because you're aware of it, and they don't even tell you anymore, it's there, okay? How do you
Coca-Cola,
get
yeah.
there?
Coca-Cola is one of the bigger ones, right? Tim Hortons another one. They don't really change that brand, that image very often. Coke has always been the real thing. It's, you know, those things. So it takes time though. If you take a look at Coke, they were in the 1800s. They had the same message as they do now, and it's still relevant. That's a lifelong brand. That's a lifelong.
You'll notice McDonald's, they're the masters of when they change it, they always keep part of the old one. So that you don't forget, and it's not a whole new branding thing every time, it's one of those, they're transitioning to the next one. Then they'll drop the first part of it, keep the second part with their next one. And it just flows right through, and year over year, they've reinvented themselves, their menu, their products, their McCafe and everything else, but you know who they are. You didn't forget McDonald's, but you remember McCafe.
Okay, we're gonna let them work though. I think some of them are working. I could see them writing stuff down. So we're gonna play Fool Us, Penn and Teller style. I won't pop. I'll do
That'll be a miracle in
Okay.
itself.
So is anybody close to finished? You want to put it to the test? We got a lot of hums. We got this fella right here.
Okay.
I'm doing telematics, which is communication between vehicles and new technology between vehicles and the people, so you can use your smartphone to communicate the data in your computer in your car to the mechanic.
Okay.
So I can do remote diagnostics and stuff like that. In Europe and States, they're starting to use usage-based insurance, which is new and saves people by the way they're driving, by the information you get through the computer.
Okay.
you get cheaper insurance, 25%. They say up to 25% discount.
Interesting.
So, my problem in Canada, there's only two, in Quebec and now starting in Alberta. So how do you present that to a company, let's say like AMA, without them taking you out of the, just crushing?
Just taking your idea and running with it, and
Yeah, without them just going over you, right?
that's where you consult a lawyer.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Absolutely. Marketing's not gonna help that situation in any way. I think
Well-
your idea, how do you market to them,
Yeah, well,
once you have all the legal set out,
Who buys it?
non-disclosure.
My idea was
The individual buys it?
My idea was talking to them,
Sure.
to like partners, so they can provide that UBI insurance, and I just installed the telematics equipment.
Help us understand.
I think that a big part of this, I mean, kind of two separate questions, but I mean, specifically on the business side, when you're talking to someone like, say, AMA that you go to, and this is a good question for next week because we actually have a lawyer coming in. But the main thing for that is companies like that, when you go to pitch to them, when you get to that level, making them sign something like a non-disclosure is not completely out of the question necessarily.
Absolutely.
And what you need to, really the question I believe that they're asking is, what is your business structure going to be? Is it going to be business to business where you sell this service to AMA? Because the marketing for something like that is completely different if you're doing business to consumer and you say, for example, my demographic is going to be the younger generation, say, because they don't necessarily take the maintenance seriously in their vehicles as the older generation. So you would have to determine what that group is going to be that you're going to go after. For them specifically, to answer your questions about marketing.
So the idea is if it's gonna be the younger demo because they pay a higher price insurance, they wanna lower their insurance, there's your message, right? You told me what your message was, lower insurance. So who's the highest risk? Probably 18 to those guys.
The insurance industry will have those numbers. They have actuarial tables that are telling you
Right.
and where, and, because a buddy of mine owns, well, he used to own Hunt Insurance, it's now Westland. He'll tell you it's female drivers 16 to 24. Female, not male. I guess we're just good at burning tires and
Not getting
idiots,
caught.
but,
Anybody else? Come on, you guys all have business, and by the way, congratulations on taking that first step to freedom. I'm still handcuffed to non-freedom. You guys gotta have some questions. I saw you writing down.
Sir.
Oh, over here, sorry.
If you're marketing to another business, how do you figure out your target age group or your target gender, because it's such a wide.
Tell us more about that.
Well, we're doing a website design business.
Okay.
So mostly we'll be marketing to other businesses. Usually small businesses is what we're targeting.
So mom and pops,
Right.
people who don't know
yes.
how to use the other services that are out there right now. What's your competitive advantage then?
We're a designer and a developer working together.
Okay.
So we're able to communicate quite a bit better than a lot of bigger companies. We don't have to go to other companies to have certain things
You don't
done.
outsource, it's all
Right.
in-house.
Yeah,
You're here in the local area, so you could do site visits. You can actually
Right.
visit with a client.
yeah, the personal.
Yeah, we're able to answer the specific questions that they
Okay.
have compared to them having to go around and find that information.
All right, so you have a Chamber of Commerce, right?
Yeah, we want to join the Chamber of
Yeah.
Commerce, yeah.
Perfect list right there for you.
Yeah, okay.
How do you market to those? Go to chamber events, right? Community Futures has a list of businesses. Back in the day when I was at the Herald, they used to have, and I don't think they do this anymore, but they had the welcome wagon, new businesses in town, things like that, right? And then obviously you have to do your research, make sure that they don't have one. Or if they do have one, how you can make it better, easier, simpler.
So it's more important to find other businesses that need our service rather than try and narrow down on.
Well, it's part and parcel, right? So the idea is you have your primary target of any business. How do you finite that down? You say, well, you need my services, and you need these services, and this is what I provide. Okay, now as far as marketing goes, your message will be a little bit different. Would you advertise on radio? Would you advertise newspaper? Would you advertise in a trade magazine? Probably, right? Where the businesses are.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know, Brian, anything on that one?
it is a different one, because you're not going after, general public coming to my store or whatever, but one of the things I'd be doing is having a look at other people's websites. You know what a good one looks like. And so many more people are now saying, we want to be able to do e-commerce. We want to be able to do all these things on our website. And we have this, seriously, one-page ma and pa. I
Land
saw on
page, yeah.
TV, you can do this yourself. If that's what you want, but that's your image. And with web advertising, the one thing we stress all the time, I call it the Field of Dreams theory. Everybody seen the movie? What if you build it and nobody comes? Okay? So you want a big advantage? We can build this site, but we also have ways of driving the traffic to it.
We know Trent.
And we know
Brian.
Trent and Brian. And we know what retargeting and geo-retargeting and how we can drive traffic to your site. So we're the one-stop shop. Not only can we build it, but we can make it work.
Right.
Because there's so many people with sites that go,
Yeah, what do you do when you
people
build a
look
website?
at my nice
right?
pretty
Yeah.
pictures, but that's about it. Nobody buys anything based. But I know I've got to have a website. They don't know how to use it. They don't know how to drive sales out of it in e-commerce, being able to go online and buy. What do you think Pizza Hut's doing? You can order your pizza online. You can order it on your phone. This is where it's got to get to. And there's so many businesses just don't do it right. I'd be looking at websites around town, looking at businesses, and just go Google, see what they've got for a website. Some of them are pretty embarrassing.
To add
That's your
on to that,
opportunity.
to add on to that, if you have your own business website, it's great to have it. If nobody knows about it, why do you have it, right? Put it on your business cards. Put it on your shirts if you can, on your vehicles. It's an easy way of advertising. Have it in your commercial. Have it in your print ad, right? And don't make it this long, crazy. To give you an idea, we have this client, Hire Standard. I'm sure that they're a hiring firm here in Lethbridge. They have hire-standard.com. Try and work that into a jingle. We were tearing our hair out. That's why I'm bald. We're tearing our hair out on trying to figure that out. What we did was we said, you know what? We'll keep the back end as hire-standard.com. On the jingle, hiringforyou.com. So now we created a separate website. Hiring for You automatically goes to the hire-standard.com. Those are things you can do. You can't do, those are the things that we bring to the table for you. If you have a website that you want to keep, we can always create something a little bit different in a jingle, in your message, that's easier to remember. Question? Nope, right here.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, well, and it might be different depending on the industry you're in. I'm going into massage therapy, still graduating in April.
All right, you got my card, right? I'll take the 10 o'clock.
Most people have told me that in that business, the best advertising is person to person and word of mouth.
Repeat and referral.
Yeah.
Referral business.
So does that
Quantify
kind of
it. What happens
personal
if somebody has a
education
bad
mean-
experience?
Yeah, it's gonna, well, they're gonna not recommend you for sure if they're
right.
nice, and they're gonna probably tell people
Okay.
not to go in.
I'm just starting to go to a guy named Greg Cowie. You know how I heard about him? A friend of mine said to me, you should go to him. Okay? You should go to him.
Yeah.
Well, how did you hear about him? After somebody telling me to go to him. Okay? Well, I've sold radio, I've sold print. If I can sell word of mouth, I'm a millionaire. Okay? Done. How do you create that word of mouth? You've got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing with massage places I found in town right now, if I want to go, I can never get in. I said to Cowie, can I get in? He goes, yeah, April 5th, I think, is my next available appointment. I'm like, didn't March just start? So it's going by a little crazy, but.
So as
when
far
you
as the
tell me
marketing
I'm
message, we have availables.
Yeah.
Appointments are available. Right?
Open, available.
Open and available.
Prompt.
Hit my website to
You got
book
hurt
online.
today, let's
right?
get you in tomorrow.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of things, and it's quick hits, and it's like, how do you separate, again, strengths, weaknesses, opportunity? Opportunity is I can get you in when nobody else can, okay? And it might be that simple. So people will go online looking for massage. There's people by company and my individual name, I wouldn't even know where to start. Make sure
You're
you're
in
there.
a deep market.
Retargeting, geo-retargeting. I have appointments available, click here to book one. Goes through to the website these folks designed for you. You can actually book an appointment online and see what's available. You don't
by
even
the-
need to hire anybody to run your front desk because they
Yeah.
built you a site that can book.
I've heard of that.
We got a
Okay.
question up there. Go
Wouldn't that
ahead.
be different though? Sorry.
Okay. With that being said though, like, if you put it, we can get you in tomorrow, or we can get you in.
You gotta
once
deliver.
Once she starts to get busy, like,
Then we
Oh,
change the
darn
message.
luck. She doesn't have to advertise as much anymore, and she says, we have appointments available, changes the message.
Yeah.
Not immediately, but
Available.
I'm sorry. We've made you too busy, and this guy's got a problem with it.
And you know what? That's a good problem to have. Maybe now she can have another massage therapist on staff.
Yeah.
Expanded. Now your message is, we're still available, and we've expanded. We've increased our hours Monday through Saturday instead of Monday through Friday. We do weekends. We do evenings, but not too late, because then you're that place, right?
This is where I walk in.
We had another question.
Oh, we have one from online. I'd like to get your guys' input. So his question is, what's the best way to figure out the answers to who your target demographic, income, and et cetera of your customers is, if you don't know that information already?
That's a real question?
That's his question. Yep.
Okay.
Wow.
It's a tough answer.
He doesn't know his target?
I think that in my mind, the answer to this kind of question would be, if you guys don't know who you're going to go after in terms of market, that's where things like the research comes in. That's where you need to understand the product that you're offering. And while I'm sure that all of you have really great ideas, the chances of it being an original idea that's never been tried before, pretty slim. So check out your competitors, see who your competitors are selling to, and figure it out that way. And once you know you have a certain demographic of age specifically, that's where you can kind of start to build and take a look at the income side of things, take a look at the geographic side of things, and things along those lines.
The neat thing about that question is that if we don't know his business, obviously we've run across quite a few businesses. This one here is this gentleman's business, a little bit new because it's technology driven. You know, massage therapy, like I said, it's a deep industry. This fella or this person, I'm not sure what their why factor, who they are, what they do. If you consult with us, we might be able to figure it out that maybe the target you're looking at isn't really the prime target you should be addressing. Just like MediChair and Leasters, right? It's the older people generation, the ones who need the product, but they're not the ones buying the product. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? Yeah, go ahead, man.
So I'm starting a clothing brand, and
Sure.
I'll be selling directly to customers through online. But then
Perfect.
I'll also be wanting to sell to retailers through.
So
various-
wholesale
yeah.
trade. Okay.
Mhm.
What's your primary business then? Is it going to be full retail or is it going to be wholesale? What are you concentrating on first?
It would probably be a lot of more wholesale stuff.
Okay.
To get more.
Give me an idea of who you're going to
dissemination.
be selling to as far as companies.
Like retailers?
Yeah.
Like Borderline.
Okay.
Infamous kind of stores like that.
Right.
There are sporting goods shows, having been in the industry, sporting goods shows where you go get a booth. The traffic comes to you. The retailers are looking for product to store their stock their stores in. You go get a booth. Montreal has a huge sporting goods show every spring. Toronto, Vancouver, that's where you need to be.
Okay.
That's your grassroots market and get your foot in the door. What you may find is you set up your booth and you're going to sell to a bunch of retailers, and a Sport Check walks in and says, if you sell that to us exclusively, we'll take $2 million a year from you. You're like, okay, now I've got a decision. Do I want to piece it off to the little Borderline, and all due respect to Borderline and
Yeah.
Alpenland and these individual stores, how are you going to keep up with it? But if you've got this one solid client right now, and this is what happens with the Costco's of the world, Canadian Tires of the world, having sat in the Canadian Tire head office in Toronto, going in there to talk about marketing, and you know what's happening? There's 30 guys in the lobby all lined up. One guy's got this vacuum cleaner, this one's got this car washer and everything, and they're going in to sell the Canadian Tire. They don't care about anything else.
Mhm.
If they can get their SKU, their product into the Canadian Tire store, that's my vending, that's my retailer. I don't need to go anywhere else.
And it's
If
not
I
so-
can't, now I gotta go and try and sell to all the, gotta go to the Napa chain, see if they'll carry it, the Princess Auto chain, see if they'll carry it.
Mhm.
That's the best marketing tool for you, is to get your product that way. Now, the retail end of things, maybe you wanna crack at eBay. Maybe you wanna throw some stuff out there. Go sponsor if it's, you know, there's some fighter gear. Was it Lee Mean that started his own little line locally here?
Mhm.
You know what? Him and all his fighters wore it. And he goes online, and it's on his fight website, and it's at the promotions of all of his events and everything else. And it's kind of a grassroots movement. It becomes a cool brand name. He's on TV at a UFC fight. Now you got an explosion on your hands.
Candy Co. here in town. Matt Gillen is the young entrepreneur. He started it out of his locker, Candy Co., the actual brand Candy Co. He's evolved now, but he's selling to corporations for corporate wear and stuff like that. I would imagine, you know, there's some similarities between his travels and what you're going to go through.
He's actually my supplier.
There you go. Yeah. So, you know, there's another company, Ebbs and Flows, Hutch. He's another guy here in town that's doing that. So with Matt, if he's your supplier, talk to him. he would probably, by far, hands down, the guy. And you can tell him Fooch told me to come talk to you.
Okay.
Right? He's the guy that everybody should be looking at as, you know what, here's a kid, 18 years old, selling t-shirts out of his locker. And you know what? Now he's not too bad. I think he bought his first Mercedes the other day. Don't let him know I said that, though. Question up here.
So I was wondering if you could give us a sense of how much advertising costs. So, you know, what's the typical, you know, when you do a radio ad, what's the typical that you sell? 30-second spots for blah, 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 for how many blah, blah, blahs, and it costs this much?
Exactly.
He knows your spreadsheet.
Well, I don't have to do anything.
30 seconds.
What's the X and Y
Just when you get the bill paid, okay?
What's an X and Y ad cost in the Herald versus a national magazine versus, you know,
Like, how do we put that in our business plan? Like, how do we find that?
Every company has a rate card.
Okay.
They have a rate card, I have a rate card. The idea though is if you're looking at a strategy for a year-long strategy, have a sit down talk with a consultant, map out the 12 months. Then you have a budget saying what do you feel comfortable with, what's within that, what's reasonable. And then with all those other questions answered, is the right demo, is the right target, is the right this. Then you figure that out. We work within that budget of a dollar figure. We can always work backwards into what would work best for you as far as frequency, schedules. For him, it's placement. Would you want to be on the travel page? Do you want to be on the sports page? Do you want to be on the front page if
My paper's
you're...
read differently. And
But if
certain
we don't-
demographics will start on certain places. The highest read thing in the paper, other than the front page, obits. Everybody's dying to read those, aren't
But if we
they? I
know-
I've heard 'em. Okay, I've heard 'em all.
Hang on, Brian, she's got a
If we
question.
know we wanna be in a national magazine,
Sure.
how do we, can we talk to people like you that give us a sense, or do we have
There's
to go
Lethbridge
to
Living
them?
in town here.
Pardon me?
Lethbridge Living, they're a certified magazine. Brian also puts out a Bridge magazine, which is a little bit different, but it's a magazine, right?
Yeah,
So those
like,
are the
what
guys
is it
you
you're
want to talk-
doing? So if you don't mind me drilling a little deeper, what is it you're
Well,
doing?
so we're looking at retail sales on the internet.
Okay.
So we want to target market the country.
Across the country.
So we're looking for broader than just Lethbridge, right?
Sure.
So local radio advertising probably isn't what we're looking for, right?
Nope.
But
We know our
So-
demographic, and we just have,
So-
but we know how to sort of get there, but how do we, it's affording
Which is what demographic?
probably parents
of
of students.
universities.
Okay, I know from working with Rogers Radio, they own a number of magazines, Chatelaine, Good Housekeeping, all these kinds of things, and each product has its own
Right.
target market and
Okay.
demographic. I'd say to you, get a hold of the Rogers corporate, okay? They might be able to tell you which product is the best way to go.
Okay.
Or if you haven't identified a magazine that you'd like to be in, there's always a phone number in there to say advertising,
Okay.
email, website. Pick that up. That's the way I'd go if you're really serious about advertising across Canada, right? Nationally. CBC's another way. Demographic, right?
Thanks.
So we got a great one from online here. So they're making chocolates. The demographic is 25 to 35 females, selling to both retail and straight to consumers. Eventually, she wants to be able to sell to brides for wedding favors to help build another business. How would you switch your demographic advertising without making your customers feel like you're abandoning them?
Consistent jingle would be the first thing.
Mhm.
Like when I say to you, you know, whatever chocolates, the chocolateest chocolates out there, whatever it is, keeping that brand at the bottom so people know wherever they are, they're dealing with the same company. The bridal part of it, there are 3 bridal shows in Lethbridge, okay? Get in them, get a booth. Showcase your product, let people sample it, okay? Create that word of mouth by having their mouths full of chocolate, trust me.
Talk to
Goes
the
over
hotel
rather
chain.
well.
Like there's the Lethbridge Hotelers Association. Maybe you might be able to get your chocolates within every bed that's made in the high-end hotels, right? Could be a gift basket that we used to do for Hilton. We used to put together, my days, we had Hilton as a client. We'd assemble baskets for the presidential suite, for the other suites, the executive suites. Each basket was a little bit different, but we had product from different high-end suppliers. Hilton would be a good one, Ramada. Those are the chains that you'd want to talk to, especially for that, right? So that's the
There's
different.
spikes in chocolate sales too, Valentine's Day, Easter, Christmas seasons, you're gonna see that kind of thing. So I know in the radio world, having been there, all kinds of promotions that we do, and Secretaries Week, whatever they call it.
They're called
Okay.
administrative professionals.
You know what I meant,
Right, yeah.
okay? I like to be politically incorrect every now and then. But those kinds of things, get associated with those contests, on-air promos, everything else. It's great value. You throw something in a prize basket, pictures around their website. You can do some smaller ads on a regular basis saying, don't forget, order now. You want to be in the doghouse or the penthouse. Chocolate does it, guys. You know, this kind of thing.
It's a sweet way to say sorry, right?
There's silly little
There's
things
our
like-
slogan.
I used to scout hockey for the Kelowna Rockets, and one of the things we used to do at the hockey games there, it was you could enter to win on the radio station, a couple of tickets, you and your buddy go to the game, we're gonna beer you up, we're gonna cab you there, cab you back, great thing. But when you got there, your wife got a bouquet of flowers and a box of chocolates and a card that says, thanks for letting me have a night out with my buddy. I really appreciate it. You wanna suck up, guys? Oh my goodness, it's a great little promo idea. Go to the club, they don't do it here. It's an idea they may hang on to and go, let's find a flower shop to go along with these chocolates, and it's hilarious when the camera at the game zooms in on him and his buddy. I'm getting brownie points at home right now, this is great, and I get to go to the hockey game. Everybody laughs about it, everybody talks about it. It's great marketing.
Question here.
Well, it's obvious you guys have a ton of ideas and you've seen a lot of stuff over the years. So do you guys do private consulting or anything like that, or is it always?
I consider it part of my job. I think Trent's the same way. To help you be successful, that's the best buzz I get.
So if you didn't actually, if we weren't really interested in advertising through your medium,
Oh.
but.
Who are you?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
No, to answer your question.
But your
you-
idea,
yeah,
like you have
yeah.
so many ideas that you've done tonight.
Everybody's
It's
got one of my
phenomenal.
business cards. What I do for all my clients is I ask them, I have a news, basically a Sound Advice newsletter I send out to all my clients on a Wednesday. Tips and tricks, marketing information, 10 checklists, a checklist of 10, what to do, what not to do, and all that stuff. If you want more information, you click it. If you don't want it, you unsubscribe. If you'd like to be part and signed up, send me an email. I'll get you signed up. There's no cost or obligation. I think that was your question. It's there for you. Okay? So it's one of the cheapest ways of getting information that is geared towards entrepreneur business. And that's what I send to all my clients.
I like to call it my double-double theory. If you buy me a Timmy's, let's go sit down and talk. Seriously. Let's just go have a coffee and throw some ideas around. And I get a buzz, like I say, when somebody phones me up and says, I want to do it again. What we just did last week, it was like crazy. That's the buzz, the rush for me. Your success leads to my success. I can't, there's no other way.
What excites Brian, what excites me is I want to know what you guys do and what makes you, what motivates you. You know, I want to know all about your businesses, because the more I know, the more I can help my clients that are actually my clients, right? Then I can help you with what they bring to the table, and I can bring it over here. Matt Gillen, perfect example. I pitched him a long time ago, back when he was here, right? He was working with another partner, and we've known each other for 7-8 years now, and he's done very well, right? We have lots of clients and contacts within the industry and local. So we have those people that, if you need somebody, Bruce Thurston, he's a U of L professor here, can help you out. Great guy.
He's actually going to be a presenter on the very last night of the CEC, so you guys will all meet him.
Right? You guys were already presented from Sarah Jorgensen from Lethbridge Tactical, right? I think she actually said, Trent, I'm sorry. I said, what do you mean? She says, well, I told him that you'd come in and say, you got to spend radio. And I says, no, that's not what we're about. You know that. And then she said, yeah, I know. Radio works for us. Which was funny. Go ahead, man.
So when we come to you
Sure.
as a client, and you say, like, here's 30 seconds at X time, do we need to be the ones who have that 30-second audio ready just to hand you, or is that something you help us design?
What we have here in Lethbridge is a nice little incubation vacuum where all production, all standard creative is included in your cost. It's
Okay.
part of our business. TV's a little bit different now, that you have to, if you're looking for a commercial, you have to find the script writer, you have to find a producer and get it produced and everything, or you can use the services out of Calgary. But there's an additional cost. In radio, there isn't. In Brian's business, it's all, I believe it's all included.
Yeah.
Right? Now, where we get into some issues is if you need an accent or a special voice, and we have to go out and market for it. Or if you have music that we have to pay royalties to use, those are the added costs, and that would be the only thing.
I was just gonna say, how many of you in here heard the radio commercials for the Chinook Entrepreneur Challenge, and that's what brought you in?
None of them. Thank you.
That was put together by Trent's team. I just called them and said I need help, and they were able to help us with that, and it turned out to be a really successful radio campaign.
It's the only way I heard about it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. That's one that I like. I'll buy you a copy. Go ahead.
Oh, another one online.
I just had a question about geo-marketing. I send money to my country, once in a while. But everywhere I go, the ad pops up, the word remit, whatever. Is that legal? Like, it feels like somebody's chasing me. I don't know.
It brings up something along the same lines. When you talk about the medias and what you want to use, the traditional media still rate the highest in terms of reliability, truthfulness, honesty, okay, and making people make a buying decision. Social media, the Facebooks, Instagrams, everything else. I always say, if you believe Facebook and an ad you see there, the West Side is burnt to the ground 3 times already. Do you remember reading it? It's all over Facebook. We were coming back from Brooks hockey tournament. Parents on the bus freaking out. Oh my goodness, we live on the West Side. Our house is burnt to the ground. It's right here on Facebook. They got home, there's a little smog in the air, but absolutely no problem with their house, okay? It's traditional media will still rate the highest. The #1 rated thing on Google is newspaper. You associate yourself with a newspaper website or read the articles, go Google anything. 90% of the time it's a newspaper article from somewhere that pops up. So there's still places.
News media.
Okay,
News
but
media.
yes, okay, but there's still a relationship and still a play in there. I always say traditional media draws people into the market. They may not be thinking about buying a new house or a new car, but they see something or hear something and think, maybe now's the time. Then they're going online and they're having a look and they're comparing. Then they're going into the store. The #1 thing we hear from retailers is customers are way more educated than they've ever been before. They know more when they walk in, and they're talking to a car sales guy and they're going, can this vehicle do this? And the rep's like, I'm not sure. And then the guys look at each other and go, this guy doesn't have a clue. I already know the answer to the question I just asked. They're actually testing the retailer instead of asking the question. Trust, everything else that comes with it. So, sorry, I kind of roundabout way on you on your question again.
Yeah, that's kind of.
There are no rules in internet the way there are in
We're
our
held by
industry.
standards.
I have CRTC, we have all
We are
these-
CRTC, and it's a standard, right? It's all about what we say in our advertising and what we do for our clients. If we find that there's something we will pull it, right?
And I would say the biggest difference is, especially when you're talking about the CRTC, is that things like media that these gentlemen are involved in have regulations put in place by the government, but when you're talking about the internet, the onus is on the user to protect yourself. So that would mean putting, browsing securely, making sure you have cookies turned off. I mean, there's tons of ways that you could make it so that they can't tell that sort of information.
Yes.
But that onus is on you as the user because there is no regulatory body
No,
in terms of the internet.
I mean, am I gonna offend somebody if I use geo-targeting? If it keeps popping my name everywhere they go, they're gonna say, these guys.
Yeah, they're going to be
It's
offended
just-
by any targeted marketing.
But I didn't know it was happening to me. I would go to a website and up would pop an ad. I'm like, it's an ad on a website. Okay, I have a Best Western MasterCard. So I go on the Best Western site and I'm checking hotel rooms and doing all this. I went to my own Lethbridge Herald website and we have 5 ad spaces on the front page. All 5 ads were Best Western. I'm like, whoa, what is going on here? I'm getting inundated, but it wasn't until somebody explained to me what was going on that I realized it's because I've been somewhere, they're following me, and now they're gonna pop up where I go. Most people don't even realize it's happening to them. They just think it's a total coincidence. It's like, oh, it's kind of cool. I'm in the market for a used vehicle. And here's Bob from Toyota saying, give me a call. I got a whole pile of used vehicles on the lot.
How expensive is geo-targeting?
We do it based on impressions, and 50,000 impressions a month is around $500. An impression is having an ad served in front of somebody, okay?
There's not action on
It
it.
doesn't count until they go to the page on the website, and then the ad pops up. And it's an amazing when you get behind the scenes. I work with some of the companies out of Toronto, how these ads get served in a split nanosecond. There's a bidding war for you. The companies are tracking where you go and what you do, and 3 or 4 people want to talk to you. Who's going to bid the highest? Like that quickly, boom, who bids the highest gets you.
I
Okay?
notice it.
It's amazing. When you hear the background systems, and you folks knowing this side of the world a lot better than most, it is an absolutely incredible and quick moving and changing. What is hot today, 3 months from now is yesterday's news, and there's a new way and there's a better way. You've got to constantly be evolving with it.
To give you an example, search engine optimization on websites a year ago was the hot topic. It's overshadowed. It's done, right? That's just part of doing business now. This is the way it goes. Okay. Another question.
For you, Trent. I've noticed like in YouTube, there's a lot of radio stations doing like video casts.
Absolutely.
Do you guys do that too?
We have our announcers do a podcast on their own. So Jordan Carson, our morning show host, has 100%. It's called 101% podcast is the name, but it's all on his own. As far as what we do as a company, not really. What we'll do though is if we have a video, we will post it to our social media and push it. Okay, it's about pushing content. And that's what we do with our Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. So all our announcers are all tied in through social media. All our radio stations are tied in through Facebook, websites, such.
When I worked for Rock and River, they had this great big event. We had 100,000 impressions one month. 100,000, I don't want to say people, because you know what I mean, but one person going there 5 times counts as 5 impressions. But okay, 100,000. This is an amazing benchmark. So I went over to the newspaper. How's your website? Oh, it's the shit. It's French. It looks awful. It's not functional. Pictures don't flow in properly. What's your traffic? Well, we average about 400,000 impressions a month. What? Content's king. Okay? Content is king. We are now averaging 900,000 impressions a month. It's 95,000 population. We have people in Germany, Holland. You know the Dutch population here? Well, their families there. They check out our website to see what's going on. Okay? See the messages. Hey, there's a picture of your grandson in the paper today. So you can see these numbers spike in other markets. It's an amazing, it really is worldwide. People who have the online version of the paper. Well, you know what, while I'm away, I'm a snowbird, I'll donate my paper to the hospital, which is a program we started, so people in hospital get a paper every day. And I get the online version of the paper. I'm sitting down at my campsite in Arizona, reading the Lethbridge Herald newspaper. It's expanded and grown, and that's what we have to do. We can't be a newspaper print product delivered to the door every day anymore. We are a media company that has a lot of different ways of delivering the message. So we've understood the role that social media plays. We understand the role the web plays. I have content, how am I going to share it? And I gotta make some money doing it. I'm in business too.
So we do the same thing as what Brian does. We have the stories on air. We will post it on our website under the news menu, but then we'll also tweet it. We'll also share it through Facebook. We'll also then through LinkedIn. So those are what we do too. So the idea is, again, dovetailing your message to make sure it's the same message that gets out. Right.
What's your view on combining all of those in the end? So you have your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram. You've got those kind of fluid with all the same content that you're pushing to them.
I'll just stop you there. What we say on LinkedIn would be totally different than what we post on Facebook. Right? The news story, if it's a news story, is a news story, holds its own. But if we had a message saying, with a HR company, we'd probably post it on LinkedIn before we would do anything on an Instagram account. Or, if it was in social media, Twitter, this is what I'm doing right now, right? Facebook, this is what I did. Instagram, this is what I'm doing here, eating this, right? All those little different things. There's all different things, yeah, and they're all different. I have a cheat sheet that I can send you if you send me an email. It'll tell you about what the different social medias and how they respond. Eating a donut, this is where I bought the donut, this is all that kind of stuff. And each of those social medias identifies that for you. So to answer your question, do you push the same message? Probably not, right? Do you post having those on your website? Absolutely. Right?
Go ahead.
Let's say
your target demographic is someone who would use something like ad block or something that would block ads, like what are other ways you could use to get to them?
Well, if you turn off your GPS, you turn off your cookies and put ad blockers up.
And you don't listen to radio.
And don't
Wow.
watch TV.
What's your company?
Well, it's based around like 3D printing, like parts, 3D prints, and just like 3D
Cool.
handling of 3D printers.
Yeah.
And it's in the tech community, but a lot of the tech community uses like, because they're more techy.
Sure.
They use ad blocking services and ad like workarounds to get rid of them.
Mhm.
And they know the like cheats of the table, so what are ways you could use to get at them specifically?
That's a good question.
What other media habits? You know, if they're blocking you off some way, then you got to find another way. Are there not tech fairs and events that, you know, expos, this kind of thing, where you get to showcase the products and what you're doing? And you're going to get more, it's going to grasp better there if you get a hold of somebody else who's got that same kind of interest and they want to help you spread the story. You're into it. You know how to ad block. What advertising hits you? How does it reach you somewhere? There was 5 years ago, GM put a story out that they were going to be developing cars with no radios in them. Because everybody was going to be out walking around, get in your vehicle, plug your phone in. There you go. Pick whatever radio station you want. You got your data in your vehicle. Or no big deal. That was going to be the biggest thing. Boom, it died. Nobody was going to buy it.
Yeah.
Okay? XM. Okay? Oh, this is the future of radio. People will pay for better content. They merged. They're still struggling. Okay?
5% renewal rate. When you buy a new car, you get satellite, and it's free. So 5% renewal rate.
You thought that was going to be the way to go. TV, well, you know what? This is the way it's going to be. Look at all these other channels. Yeah, well, now you can buy individual channels.
Or PVR.
Now-
You know, when you fast forward through the commercials, product placement.
Okay?
That might be key.
We watch Law and Order, my wife and I. I haven't seen a commercial in it forever because I just go to TV on demand and watch a show without the commercials.
Your answer
Okay.
might be YouTube, Instagram. YouTube, Instagram, cool thing. Look what we just did.
What are ways of like contacting creators on YouTube? Like, do they put
That's
out?
beyond my
do they
world.
have their own?
Again, beyond my world too.
What exactly are you looking? Because I mean, each individual person on YouTube is their
Yeah,
own
they have their
individual entity, right? And so there is a way to specifically contact them.
Would
But
that be the way to go, or would it be
Yeah.
are there services that you can purchase, like YouTube creators to do content based on what you're trying to get at?
so you would pay YouTube creators in order to do this, sort of, is your idea?
Yeah, well, that's not what my plan was. But
Yeah.
that's a way of getting at it.
It all depends, in my mind, on especially when you're talking about the tech demographic. Like coming from myself, if I were to put myself in your client's shoes, I have an ad blocker on there. The reason I have an ad blocker on is because I don't want to see ads. So if I see an ad pop up or someone that tries to circumvent the system, I would be angry as a consumer because I have specifically tried to not find that, right? So when you're talking about the tech community, you need to start to understand where they're getting their information from. Blogs are huge in that tech community, right? So whether it's talking to bloggers, potentially some of it is say, hey, try it out for free. And you know that's what a lot of people do in the online world is they say, try it out for free, try it at a reduced price, give me a review. That's all I want is a review from you.
Content. I think what Jason's talking about is creating content for yourself. You can post, blog, then you can have a video of yourself or of your product, how it's being used, right? Because a lot of the, what we found is that if you had somebody with a shaky camera videotaping someone using a product, it got viewed way more than if you had a slick production from a manufacturer. That's what you're looking at, because that will get watched. Now it's product placement within that video is your product, without having saying, buy my product. This is how you use my
What
product.
about like, let's say you have a creator giving them like a review sample or like a product sample
Absolutely.
for free to
Absolutely.
review and give their honest opinion, then you can either like
Peer
use
reviews.
them, they keep it or like send it back depending on what your
Absolutely,
policy.
peer reviews. You know, you're a very, I don't want to say narrow, I think it's a broad, but it's very defined on who is going to buy your stuff,
Yeah.
right? So I think with the question, is mass media marketing going to help you? Maybe not. Not really. Okay.
The only thing that popped into my head, you drive around town, right?
Yeah.
Seen the flashing billboards on the streets? You're sitting at the lights and there they are. I hate them. I seriously, I do. It drives me nuts. But maybe that's one way while you're sitting at the lights and it's a quick 5-second video and high speed, fast, boom, look at this. Okay? There you are. You're reaching something. You still go to movies or you're pirating them all at home?
I go to movies.
Okay, Movie Mill. I got a big screen up there. Do I run commercials? Maybe.
Wherever you can capture audience, right?
If you're in that demographic, think about what you do and where you go and where the opportunities might be. And it might not be traditional media. And if you got ad blockers going, you got to figure out a way around it. Either that or just don't get into business. That's your challenge.
Okay.
Sorry, we're going
Way past.
way
Sorry,
longer
guys.
than we thought we'd be. But if you guys want to keep going, we're game. And
Yeah, Brian's game. I gotta go.
If you guys have questions, we'll take one more before we wrap it up.
plus, you've got our cards. Okay. Seriously, anything.
got one right here.
Email. Ask.
What's the brand name that you sell different from the name of business?
Oh, that would be like TaylorMade.
My golf shop is a Golf
Products
Plus.
itself.
Product lines that carry
Nike.
TaylorMade, Ping, Hogan. That kind
You're
of.
not having making your own product.
That's right. Yeah. All right, so take me up on that. I have that newsletter. Obviously, if you want, it's you can unsubscribe at any time too. It's just unsubscribe and then I put you on
You can
your
block
debt to me
him,
list.
too.
Yeah.
I have a Trent
All right.
blocker on.
And when you do sign up, just make sure you whitelist me so that my newsletter doesn't go to your spam or junk folder, because I had some clients tell me they haven't gotten it, but it's in the spam. So you have to whitelist me. It makes me feel important. Thank you very much, you guys. And
Yeah,
again,
thank you.
congratulations on your journey.
Fantastic presentation, and so important. Talking about targeted marketing. How many of you have, I'm sure many of you have heard this story, but Target was one of the first people that got into the targeting market demographic. And there was a gentleman who found out actually that his teenage daughter was pregnant because of the targeted marketing that Target did. He went online, and because she had used his account to buy or look up things like pregnancy tests and everything like that, it actually recommended that he buy diapers. And when he was asking his family, wait, why is this telling me to buy diapers? His teenage daughter said, I'm pregnant. So that's how good it can be. So next week, this is what we're going to be talking about. Risk management is a big thing. We're going to have a lawyer in from Stringham Denicky who's going to be talking about risk management. Who's going to talk a little bit about the structures of businesses and what they mean to you. And we're going to talk about financials, which is fantastic. We're going to have YPM is visiting us, and they're going to cover what financial statements actually mean, how to interpret them. And I know you guys love accountants. So come armed with your questions, because it's not very often you get to sit across from a chartered accountant and not pay $300 an hour. If you have questions, email me either of those email addresses. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Facebook. I'll put up some links this week as well. Other than that, you guys are good to go. We'll see you all next week.